We are live.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the BBL show. Tony Camper here, and with my co-host, Larry Carter. Say what's up, man.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And today's guest is a fellow Barbell Life member, been in the group for a while. He's a powerlifter, strongman, arm wrestler. He pulls semis. The list goes on and on. Let me introduce today's guest, Brett Faught. What's up, man?
Hey, everyone, how are you?
Good,
A little
good.
nasally. I've had a cold for a while, so get over it.
It's all good, man. We always have some kind of issue doing the show, but all right. So we'll start off with the Barbell Life. That's how I found you.
Yeah.
How did you end up in the Barbell Life?
Somebody added me. I'm guessing it's you. You had to have found me through. I don't even know who you found me through. Because it was probably about a little over a year ago you added me, so just added me. That's how it was. I mean, it made sense at all. Everybody kind of
Props for
put
that.
together a lot easier. So
Yeah, I'll be lurking on Facebook from time to time, and suggested friends pop up and all that, and if their profile picture looks like they're into fitness, I usually add them and try to get them in the group. But I saw yours, and now that I think about it, you're like arm wrestling on your
Oh,
profile.
yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, we can have some arm wrestlers in the group now. So that worked out. Brett's actually on the Barbell Life calendar as well.
Yeah.
Forget which month that is, but yeah.
December.
Okay, cool.
All the way in December.
We gotta get you on this year's too. We're working on that, so I know you got plenty of pictures. All right, so the Barbell Life, all about working out, lifting, pretty much staying active, bettering yourself through fitness. How'd you get into lifting weights?
Right. I've always wanted to lift weights since I was like 3, so I guess I joined the Y at like 13, and my dad said I was already 14. He lied to him, and I just went there, and I mean, I didn't lift right. I tried to bench press every week in max. I don't know. I just always wanted to be strong, so I've made all the mistakes. So I guess you could say I have a lot better answers now because I know what mistakes everyone's making a lot of times, but just got into it and just stayed with it. It's one of the few things like I actually, like most people, I just stuck with it. But it's the one thing that a lot of people don't stick with after the age of 20, and I stuck with it and I've always stuck with it, even through the difficult times, I guess, of not gaining weight, not moving up, injuries, this, that, but I've always wanted to be strong, so I'll never be out of there. I may be pissed off as ever at the weights, but hey, they're always the same. They never change, so I'll always be in there doing something.
I know what you mean about starting off not having a clue and just kind of going in there and like you're self-taught. You went in there and just started lifting weights, and
Yeah.
that's what I did. I went in there and was just like, all right, bench. So I was benching a lot.
Yeah.
In the gym too long, doing random shit, probably horrible form.
Yeah.
But you learn. I mean, that's why you got to pay it forward.
Exactly.
And as far as not ever quitting, I hear you on that. Like, I think about it, and I'm like, I can envision myself being an old man still, lifting 10 pounds, whatever I can do by then. But
oh, yeah.
It's definitely an addiction, man. I've known a lot of people over the years that come and go, like they get into it, they see a difference. Usually, especially in the military, a lot of guys, it's a thing where when you deploy, you start working out. It's just everyone expects you to come back jacked. And usually people do because, I mean, let's face it, if you don't work out and then all of a sudden you start hitting it for 6 months straight, you're going to come back with noticeable gains, So since I've been in, I've seen it happen so many times. Guys deploy and come back and they're just ripped or got a bunch of muscle now, and
Oh yeah.
Once I get into that day-to-day routine again, they just kind of fall off. It's not a priority anymore, and you just see guys shrivel away or get fat or whatever. And I'm like, to me, I can't fathom that because I love the gym. I love to work out. You know, it's therapy. It's emotional, physical. I feel good, you know, and it's part of my life. And I don't see how people can just go, nah, I'm not gonna work out no more. It just blows my mind, but it's not for everyone, right?
I guess not. Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
all right, so you got into lifting young. What was the first competitive sport you got into?
Well, Pee Wee doesn't count. So I didn't really compete as a gymnast either, but I was a gymnast at like 7th grade through pretty much senior year at it's called the Academy of Gymnastics here in Mattoon, but they wanted me to compete, but I never would. But probably powerlifting when I did my first bench press competition through Sunlight Power, which I know it's not going on anymore because the founder ended up passing away, but kind of a smaller organization out of Tuscola, Illinois, of all places, if anyone knows what that is, who's going to watch or is watching. And then he would always just go like a 250, 275-mile radius from Tuscola. So he'd get into just the tip low part of Michigan, Wisconsin, but he'd hit everywhere in that radius. But a lot of people have started through him. He's kind of got laxer rules. You know, he gives you the benefit of the doubt, especially if you're new. If you're brand new, doesn't let you lift like crap, but you know, you bounce off your chest, or if you hitch it on a deadlift, he lets you know they won't allow that in more bigger competitions, but he'll allow it that time and all that just to let you in. But that's how I got started, and then I got into World Association of Benchers and Deadlifters, WABDL, and I competed in a few other organizations, but it was mostly WABDL. But yeah, I started at 15, sophomore year, 15 years old. I was in it was October of that year, so it was like 2003, and I won. I don't know how, but I won. So I was like 127 pounds. I bench pressed like 160, 165. So
You just jumped in a powerlifting meet, just cold turkey, huh?
Yeah, I just said, well, I saw it there the year before. It was at our mall in Mattoon, Illinois, and he'll come to the mall. It was odd, but and then I just did it. It was about, I don't even know if there were 15 lifters there, but whatever. I might have been the only one in the class, but I showed up. So, but I got whatever.
That's cool. Yeah, it's addicting, man.
When did you do yours?
He's switching it on me. My first powerlifting meet was 2013.
Okay.
My dad, he's been a powerlifter since I was probably even before I was born.
Okay.
But you know, I grew up watching him powerlift, and he's always been a beast. Like, you know, I think there was probably maybe two competitions he did that he didn't get first place.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and those were like when he was competing in a category above what he weighs. So
wow.
He's bigger guys. He's always been a monster. But anyway, so I was always interested in it. And one day I was out and about, and I got a text, and he's like, "Can you get down to 148 by November?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" And he's like, "We got some records to break." And I was like, "All right." Well, yeah, he's big into NASA. They're powerlifting.
NASA, okay.
Yeah. And so that was my first one. I went with him. It was actually he made it his last one. So his last one, my first one.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a good time, man. And it's addicting. Once you get that rush, you know, of powerlifting, and you know, you got people around, and just the whole atmosphere and the whole experience is it's a thrill, man. It's adrenaline rush. But so I've done a couple since then. I did a couple like on base at the gym up there, little rinky-dink ones, but you know, I've done some during my deployment and things like that. But nationally sanctioned, I've only done 2. I got another one coming in November. So, how many have you done?
Powerlifting,
Yeah.
2003 to 4. 2004, I probably did 5, 9. Probably, if I said 40, I would probably be saying I would probably be either 5 too less or 5 too much, so give or take. And
Yeah.
I have 18 state championships between bench and deadlift is like 9 and 9, oddly enough, and then one world. I'm sure we'll get into that, but when it comes to 3 world championships, I went to and got second, first, and second, 404, 05, and 06 through WABDL, WABDL. And
Okay.
then, yeah, probably 30 at the least. There's no doubt. If
That's
I
insane.
wouldn't be surprised if it was maybe on the 40 side, but probably 30 or 40 of
So
powerlifting. Probably
I
like,
guess you got a lot of hardware, huh?
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, yeah, I love them all. Sometimes the second place trophies were cooler than the first place trophies. So,
Ah,
but I don't know. I guess I don't know if I've done 6, maybe strongman competitions, maybe 7, and then arm wrestling. I'm probably already in the teens with that. I would say close to it. If I'm not up to 13 yet, I'm probably one away. Which my next one's in October in Athens, Georgia. If anybody in Athens, Georgia, or Atlanta, or anybody close wants to come, I don't even know where it's at now I think about it. Add me on Facebook, and then it's in my events, but it's down there with those big guys.
well, let me know when you put that together, and we'll post it in the group. And I know we got people out in Georgia, so I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
some people out there and show some support.
that'd
I'm
be
reading here. It says you have 18 state titles, 9 bench press, and 9 deadlift, and then you have 1 world title, deadlift, WABDL, age 16 and 19, category 148.
yeah,
And then strongman, you place second in 2 competitions under the 200-pound class. Let's
yeah.
talk about strongman for a second. So
Okay.
how did you go from you know
Uh, let's see.
from powerlifting to strongman?
'07, '08, I would have been a sophomore in college, and I had been friends with a guy named Matt Gallagher the year before, and he was big, look like a bodybuilder, and was powerlifter strong, and could do anything, though, that's the thing. Um, and ISU, Illinois State University, had a fun, I guess you could say, strongman competition, and I just entered. We had a tire flip and a keg press, stones, of course. And well, there had to have been a farmer's walk, which I always seem to do really, really well in. But actually, I did a strongman competition. I'm sorry, that's a lie. In '06, actually, right before I went into college, for Christian County in Taylorville, Illinois. And the only thing I did well at was farmer's walk. So I guess my hands and my grip's always been strong. But I got technically into always competing strongman in '08, April of '08, and did that one and I don't even know if I did one that year, another one. I probably was training, lost my job and was training. I did one in '09, and then did the Illinois State one also in '09. But that's how I got into it. I just got into it, and I tried to do everything I could in the gym that carried over, I guess. Still powerlifted, and then found a few people to go train with. John Beatty, who's in right by Champaign, Illinois, who is a pro strongman. And I trained with Jason Sneed and a few of his friends at University of Illinois at their house. They had a bunch of strongman equipment, and so that's the only way I tried to train there about every Sunday whenever I finally found them, and just lift in the gym. And I did all right every now and then. I was usually pretty good in the deadlift. I was okay in the press. Always been pretty good pressing, even though I'm long armed. Always did well in the grip events, like really just farmer's hold or farmer's walk. Stones, it's a fun time, but they're fun to do, that's for sure. I'm actually a little bit better at the keg, but of course you've got something to grab onto at the keg, like a keg over the bar, like you're just throwing it over the bar and they give it back to you or something. But fun time.
Me
But
and Larry.
shout out to weight.
Go ahead. I
What's
didn't hear
up?
what you said. You said something about '08.
Yeah, 2008, April '08 was technically when I really got into strongman competitions.
Okay. So, yeah, you were mentioning your grip. I'm pretty sure that helps with the deadlifts, right?
Yeah, helps with deadlifts, helps with arm wrestling a lot. To
Oh yeah. Okay.
an extent, yeah,
Well,
you gotta learn when to let up on your grip to use certain techniques. But I feel like I've always had pretty good hand strength. So,
now which one do you like more, powerlifting or strongman, and why?
well, I guess it'd be strongman because the strongman will carry over the powerlifting, where the powerlifting will too. But I guess you've got the more odd events, so it can be fun if you don't mind the bigger challenge. And then you've got more to do, I guess. And I like to pull vehicles. That's always fun. That's part of strongman. So then you always got something to carry on your back, or
Yeah, Larry just posted, showed your video of you pulling the semi.
that was
Tell us
fun.
a little bit about that. How'd that come about?
I all I knew was with the competition, which that was in 2009. I I had never done anything like I'd sat down and pulled a vehicle, but I had never been harnessed. So I'm like, well, there's the harness. I'd watched a lot of videos and a lot of the WSM, World's Strongest Man. I always noticed that they were lower to the ground and they tried to push them, they tried to keep their bodies forward. I just said, well, just drive with those legs and start pulling that rope and using that row strength and back strength and just keep driving your legs. Once you get the wheels going, it's, I'll say easier, but
Gotta
it's
get
still
the momentum.
taxing to your body. But once you can get it going, you just don't want to stop. And I had done sled pulls and stuff like that to try to like mimic it. But I said, hey, if I get 30 feet, I'll be happy. And I got all 80 feet in about 35, 38 seconds. It's about 42,000 pounds. So it was on flat surface. So it wasn't up. It wasn't on an incline, but it also wasn't on a decline. It was like straight up flat surface. And I just pulled it, and I didn't even care what my time was. I just kept moving. So that was
Yeah,
fun.
like you were blasting through that thing. I bet it's hard to train to pull a semi without actually pulling a semi. You know what I'm saying?
But
Uh,
yeah, you pull a vehicle, even just pulling a vehicle, you get the whole point of getting your body aerodynamic, lower to the ground, pushing with your feet, and you've got that lead rope. That lead rope's always helpful. But looks like he's showing another video. I
well, he
kind of
just showed you freaking walking with two refrigerators. I've never seen
Yeah,
nothing like that
that
before.
was
That's
fun. That was interesting. It kept swaying on me, so I kind of was kind of off balance, but I did it. And actually, the farmer's walk at the end was easy. I didn't get that far because I timed out. I think you only got about 90 seconds, probably, yeah, 90 seconds. But that pickup was easy. If I had time, I'd have went the whole time, the whole way down with the farmer's handles, but they said you ran out of time. That's why they whistled. But the pickup was easy. My hands were so trained for it, and they were pretty much the same implement as the guy I'd been training with in Champaign, Jason Sneed, and my two brothers named Adam and oh man, they're gonna be mad at me. I'm sure they won't say this. The Marks, the last name was Marks, the Marks brothers, and then there was his friend named Hassad was lifting with us too. So yeah,
okay.
it was fun. It was different.
What's your favorite strongman lift to do?
Either any of the deadlifts, like especially like a Hummer tire deadlift, like deadlift lockout, and then any vehicles pull, any vehicle pull. I would just, and it's fun to do.
Yeah, that always blows my mind. People pulling
Yeah,
semis.
like
I'm
the
like,
vehicle pulls.
geez, that's
Always,
freaking crazy.
I like the grip vents, of course. I like them all. I mean, I can't say I like stones that much, but I like them a little bit. But any deadlift or vehicle pull.
Yeah, we actually one of our admin, good friend Carla Thompson.
Yeah.
She's big into strongman,
Yep.
and so when we went out there to visit earlier this year, she took us to her gym and we did a bunch of strongman training. and it's no joke, man. You know, it was a good time. We had fun, but I think the hardest one for me was we had to pick up this sandbag and lift it up and throw it over this bar, kind of like what you said about the kegs.
Oh yeah, just something over a bar. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a bitch, man. I think the hardest part was just like I could get it up, like when it started getting heavier, I could get it up, get it to my waist area, getting it up and over the bar. Wow, that was such a bitch.
It moves. The sandbag is like, it moves. It gets lighter here. It sand moves and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a it's a very odd object without a doubt. It's got a mind of its own.
It's definitely it's technique based. Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So powerlifting, strongman. Now, how did you get into to arm wrestling?
Well, we've all seen Over the Top.
Yes.
I love the movie. It's the technique in there is horrible. Don't follow the technique.
That little finger thing and then.
Well, that's fine. But how he pulls his shoulder out, but I won't get into all that until maybe later. But it's a great movie. But I would say I saw that and I said in 6 months I'm gonna be in arm wrestling, and it was well, it was about 9 months later I had my first practice, and then the next year in January 2013 I did my first competition and didn't know what to do. I had done some practices and then got a new job 3 to 11, so I didn't practice from April until April 12th to January 2013. I just said, I got to go. I'm just going to jump in, do it, go to the competition, and just see what it's all about. And I went to Illinois State's, which my coach, Blaine Middleton, puts on in the tiny town of Nashville, Illinois, like 3,200 people. And that year is probably 120, 130 competitors in this small bar that's called Southside Bar, and it just brings so many people, some of the very good arm wrestlers from other states and all around Illinois, and makes that bar a lot of money. And Blaine himself is like 17, 18 years into the sport. He's good. He's 6'6", 290, and has almost a 10-inch hand. So he's built for arm wrestling. But I just went there and I entered the amateur class, 176 class, and won one time right-handed and still got third place. And went 0-2 left-handed. Then after that, it was like my left hand was better than my right. But I just went. I jumped in. I don't even know where the video is, but you can tell I armed it all. I didn't know what I was doing really at all. And then he invited me to practice, and I've been practicing with them and some people around here in Central Illinois for the last 3.5 years, plus a few months.
It sounds like there's a pattern with you, man. You
just jump in.
Yeah, you see something you like, and you're just like, yeah, let me go try this out, and just go in there, cold turkey, and then just get good at it and dominate.
Yeah, I fell in love with it pretty quick, even though I was horrible at it. But at my next competition, I actually entered in 3 classes, 2 right-handed classes, a pro and a novice. And then I entered a pro left because that's all they had. And I lost I went double elimination each time. I went 0-6 that day, and I was mad, but I was like, I still learned something. But it was just like, well, I don't want to have that happen again. And well, I admit I went 0-2 a few times since, but I at least knew what I was doing. But no, I just jumped right in, fell in love with it. I don't know if I'll ever stop arm wrestling until I'm about 65 or 70, competing wise, because it's cool because it's a different strength. It's tendon strength first, and then that really does carry over to your muscle strength if you want it to. If you still work out, but it's a cool kind of strength to have. I've noticed a lot more static strength just in holding things a certain way, and because it is awkward in arm wrestling to hold and the awkward positions and angles. So it's cool. It's something different, and it surprises people when you shake their hands because
Oh,
I love
you're just
the
a
grip,
beast.
and then it's just now. Like, I don't mean to, but it's just a cool way to grip somebody's hand on not even on accident or on accident. I mean, but something cool, something different.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Um, so real quick, you were talking about over the top. So let me get this right. You're just sitting around watching some old '80s movie, and you're like, "What? I'm gonna do that."
Well, yeah, I just kind of said, well, I know it's around. I'd seen some random videos before of like actual arm wrestling, and just always thought it was cool. So, and I said, well, it's a strength sport, so I've always thought it was pretty cool. And then I don't know if any of you ever seen Pulling John. You guys, if anybody's ever not seen that, look it up and watch it, and it's pretty
That
awesome.
sounds
And just
like a
look up
porno, dude. I
just
don't
look
know.
up professional arm wrestling on YouTube. It's pretty
That
cool.
sounds like a porno movie, man. I don't know if we can condone
But
that.
Pulling John, John Brzenk, best in the world, best ever to ever arm wrestle,
Okay.
best ever. And
Um,
not even the super heavyweight. He used to enter super heavyweight and beat everybody, and he still pretty much does. 51 years old, and he'll still beat you. He can be 380 pounds, and he's about 215, and
okay.
he'll beat you. He's pretty awesome. But yeah, it's a good movie. I know it's kind of got a porno name, Pulling John, but that's what it's called.
Now, didn't you get injured? Didn't you say you got injured, and that's what kind of also pushed you in that direction?
Yeah, my low back just kept not wanting to work with me with deadlifting and yoke walks and all the lifting. It's probably my fault, used bad technique, didn't notice, and it stayed with me. But I finally pulled my back again, and I said, well, I'll go and I'll try arm wrestling now for sure because I might need to back off of some of the low back movements. And I did, and then didn't, and then I backed off too long, and then I came back in, and my low back, wasn't strong. So, but like I said, I fell in love with arm wrestling, so I kind
And
of stay. I figured I would stay around it, but I didn't. I was still surprised because sometimes I get excited about stuff, and then a week later I'm like, man, never mind, it's not for me. But 3.5 years in, I'm, you know,
you're hooked.
sometimes it's 24 hours a day. That's all I think about. So
Yeah.
how it is.
Are you just at work like challenging your buddies and shit? Like, hey, let's get down.
Man,
Or at the bar or something like, who wants to arm wrestle?
I try not to challenge anyone, but if they were to challenge me, I'll say okay. See what happens.
That's funny. All right, so you mentioned switching from left to right. Now, is that pretty common in arm wrestling, or is that just something you happen to do well?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's different. I don't know how to explain it. I right hand competition, it always seems to have a few more competitors in the right-handed competition. Because I believe when arm wrestling tournaments really started, they only had right-handed competition. Very seldomly did they have left. Weird. But so even to today, it's like, I don't know. I mean, don't quote me, but if there's like, 20 people in your class for right-handed, if you enter left-handed, there'll probably be maybe only seven, maybe only just about the close, about 17, 18, but there may only be like 9 or 10, or even maybe a few less. But then sometimes, it's about the same. If you've got this many right, you've got this many left. Seems like people get injured easier on their left hand, which I'm sure if anybody's watching this who's an arm wrestler probably rolled their eyes because they can tell I'm annoyed. But it's like their left hand always gets injured, and I don't really believe that. They just don't want to. I don't know. Not everybody's right-handed, so I don't know. I just seem to have had a little bit better success left-handed. So
Well, I think statistically, there's not as many left-handers in the world as there are right-handers, but that'd
true,
be weird if you only
true,
have right-handed.
true. It's like 90-10, but 90-10. But I just figure it's like, are you gonna like when you do bench press? Do you just like if you're lifting in the gym, do you just curl with one hand and not curl with the other arm? Or do you just grab a dumbbell and only bench press on your right side? You don't even have to compete left-handed, but it's like I don't know. I know I would feel different if I only competed right or if I only competed left. like I think my right or my left side, whatever side I was not competing in, would feel like it was almost hanging or lagging. So
Yeah, it'd be uneven.
I don't know, because I know people who are the same as me who are much better left-handed, or they always seem to be a little bit more comfortable left-handed than they are right-handed. But then everybody seems to be, oh, I'm right-handed. Yeah, my left hurts. I'm like, okay, no, I don't
Okay.
know, whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's different, but
Now you are right-handed, right?
yeah, I'm right-handed in life.
But
So
you do better left-handed.
yeah, I've had probably, oh, I don't know. I've had just more success when I get on the table. It's up here too, but I feel more comfortable on the table. My setup with left hand, and then even people like they'll we'll practice right-handed, and then we'll go to left, and they're like, yeah, right off the bat when I grab a hold of them, or I set up, they're like, yeah, you already feel much stronger on your left arms. I'm like, okay, and I mean I have an injury in my right elbow, and I rolled my tendons at a practice. So for 2 weeks, I just didn't arm wrestle. I didn't do anything arm wrestling to let those tendons heal, because they'll heal pretty quick if you roll them. You just got to heal them. You can't go back too strong. And about 2 weeks later, I went back in the gym and just slowly got into it. About 4 weeks later, I was back to, at the time, all 100% strength. But even before then, I was better left-handed. But now
Now,
my right and my left, I feel the same almost, which is kind of nice to feel. But I still have a little bit better success left-handed. Excuse me.
as far as injuries go in arm wrestling, have you seen or experienced any really bad ones? I know I saw a video on YouTube once where a guy was arm wrestling and the dude's arm just snapped. Like he
Yeah,
just.
I've seen two of the spiral arm breaks where it goes back here, but um,
What do you
just
mean?
it breaks when you're up. No matter how you are, you want your shoulders square. So if
Yeah.
you are arm wrestling, you do this. You pull that shoulder away. You pull the outside shoulder away. That is
Okay.
what puts all that pressure in the back of your arm, and that's really where the break usually is, in the back of their arm. So it's
The actual
spiral
bone.
fracture. Yeah, spiral
Oh,
fractures. I've seen video of like a couple arm wrestlers I know blow a bicep, even if it's small rupture or the whole bicep. But like I said, I've only heard and seen the arm break twice.
you've
And
heard someone's arm break?
oh, yeah, you hear it. We had music
Ah,
on. We were in the back of the it's like the Legion over in like eastern or western part of Missouri, and music wasn't blasting, but I mean people were talking, music was going, and this girl just, you heard her arm snap like a twig, and they set her down and got the ambulance there, and then and I saw her 5.5 months later, and she had the nice, about that big a scar on the back of her tricep. She was back muscular as could be. So,
still competing or what?
huh?
Still competing or what?
I don't. She didn't compete that day. I don't know if she's still competing now. But she was. I asked her. I said, "You feeling all right?" She's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "I was there. I saw it happen." you know. But I was glad to see her up and about and back to training. That's for sure. Because I believe that's what she did for a living. Was she was a trainer, and I believe she was a model as well, because she's real tan and all that stuff too. But
Okay.
so
Yeah, that freaks me out. Like you were talking about over the top, and I remember that I think something like that happened in the movie.
yeah,
Dude's arm.
yeah. One guy like one of the bigger actor guys blew a bicep, but yeah, I mean it happens. I've seen just people walk off there because they're just cramping up, their wrists or biceps cramping up, and strains, and you tear a tendon loose. That's hard to heal because there's no blood going to it. It takes a long time to heal. Rolling your tendons is probably, in my eyes, what's going to happen to you. Excuse me. No matter what, it's just how it is. My girlfriend rolled her tendons, and then I don't know, 3-4 months later, she ended up winning Biker Bash down in Daytona. So
So your girlfriend competes too?
Yeah, she's really good. She's really good, actually.
That's
So,
pretty cool. Do you guys ever arm wrestle together?
yeah, we arm wrestle together. She's strong, and I don't really let up on her. I try to tell her what to do and try to give her, as much um, feedback as I can. She's good though.
She
She
ever beat
she's
you?
good.
She ever
Huh?
beat you?
No, she doesn't beat me.
I
She's looking at me right now, but
hear
no,
that.
she doesn't beat me. She's good though. I would put her up against. I'd put her up against about any girl who was into the sport, no matter really how good they were, just to let them feel. And then I'd put her up against some guys too, because she'd probably break their little hearts.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even arm wrestler, dude. Like I said,
Huh?
I wasn't even arm wrestler. I
She's
would leave
pretty
that one alone.
hook.
I passed.
She's a good
Um,
hook. Though.
what's that?
She's a good hook presser. It's a technique. It's you hook in, so it's like the power move where you're gonna hook, like use your bicep, and you're gonna hook your wrist in, and then her arm length is perfect, where when she puts her arm down, her hand is already with her shoulder parallel. So when she hooks in, that shoulder is on top of it. So then she just presses. And then she slides her elbow on that pad, and it's like a hammer. So when she hooks in,
Okay. Like,
and that's what she'll do. She'll come back up to starting position and do it again, and then because she gets her wrist connected with their wrist and just drives them down, pulls them, and hooks them and hammers them down. So
and you talked about when you first started, you just kind of went in there, you didn't know what you were doing, and
I probably did this. I don't even know if I did that. I think I went like that, and then I went down with it. I didn't know what I was doing really. I started high, and I just went like that. That's about all I did.
now when you first started learning, as far as actual technique and stuff like that, how does somebody practice arm wrestling? How do you learn the craft and actually get good at it? What are some, like, for instance, say there's someone watching the show right now who's like, I want to get into arm wrestling. What advice would you give them as far as what to start doing? A couple little tips on how to fix your
uh,
form, things like that.
Find arm wrestlers and go to their practice, because I mean it's just like you have to arm wrestle. So go to their practice, even if it's 2 hours away. Go to the practice, because trust me, you're going to need the 2 hours of driving home to get over the pain. Don't let it scare you. But go there and let them teach you, because it is a different. You got to learn the techniques. You got to learn how to set yourself up, and it's going to be different. Especially me, like, man, I was always, real strong in the gym, and I knew I wasn't gonna be strong there. I wasn't even gonna think, oh, maybe I'll get lucky and already know how to do this. No, and the gym strength has nothing to do with it until you learn the technique. But I would say stop doing wrist curls behind your back with a barbell. Go get a thick-handled uh, handle online and put it on a bloating pin or some chains or on a cable, and start working your wrist. Start working your hand with some fat grips, doing dumbbell holds or curls with them to make your hand, because what it does is actually works your wrist. Work your wrist. Get one of those resistant bands and hold it and pull it, and then just pour it like you're pouring a pitcher of beer. Just pull up and pull that and get your lat into it, and then just follow it over like that, because that's a top roll. Getting your wrist into it, hand and wrist work and forearm work. Your biceps, the last thing that's going to be in it. Now, still bicep curl, but if you want to do something with biceps, get on a preacher curl and hold a heavy dumbbell or hold a heavy barbell in that curl position, that static hold, and start doing a whole lot of pull-ups.
Pull-ups.
Yeah, because it's going to work your grip, your back, and your biceps. and it's going to work your forearms as well. Forearm pull-ups, pull-ups, pull-ups. This way and this way especially. But work the pull-ups, work your wrist curls, and get somewhere. Learn how to arm wrestle from an arm wrestler who know what they're doing, and then keep going to practices and invest in ice, lots of ice.
You make it sound like you're gonna get pretty beat up arm wrestling, huh?
Tendon strength is or tendon pain is very unforgiving. It's not like a sore muscle. It's different.
Now, so is this what you do when you mention you talk about arm wrestling practice and stuff? Is this what you're talking about? You go and lift all these weights, or is that something different, more technique?
I go to the gym. I like arm wrestling practice. We just get on tables and arm wrestle, and then the people who are bigger and better and know what they're doing a lot better, or who are better than us, you try to work with them, and you just feel. But you get a difference of hands. Someone might have a thicker, smaller hand like me. Someone might have a really long hand and thick hand. Someone might be a construction worker, which you'll run into a lot, who already have like hand and wrist strength from doing the whole construction thing. So, but it's different size hands, it's different leverages, and then you're learning how to pull through fingers. You're learning how to hook in. You're learning how to attack this way. You're learning back pressure to open their bicep. You're learning side pressure to pull them to the pad. Just arm. I mean, that's what you do at arm wrestling practice. You just arm wrestle. And you can bring some of your arm wrestling toys and put some weights on it and do some curls and some all sorts of curls and holds. But you just get on the table and you arm wrestle and you learn, and you work your tendons. That's what you're going to do, is you're working your tendons and your muscles at the same time. But because you've got someone pulling against you, so it's a lot. It's different. I mean, you can work with bands and cables and weights, but if you don't have somebody pulling against you, that's the best way to do it. Is just get on the table and hours on the table, as much as you can, as much as you on practice every week, once a week, once every 2 weeks. That's the best way to arm wrestle.
You don't realize how much goes into it. A lot of people, including myself, I just figured, you just go up there and whoever's stronger is winning the contest. I mean, I figured there's a little bit of technique and like I said, over the top again, or he does a little thing and takes them down or whatever. But I didn't realize there's so many, tricks. You're talking about leaning back and stretching the bicep of the other guy and all that stuff. Like that's intense stuff, man. For arm wrestling competitions, do you have weight classes, or is it just anybody against anybody?
Weight class. That overall will be the anybody against anybody.
I'm guessing that's
on the organization. It depends on the tournament. It depends on the person promoting it. But a give or take would be a 0 to 154, 155 to 176, 177 to 198, 199 to 220, and then it could go 221 plus, which is your super heavyweight, or it could go 221 to 242, and then your 243 plus. So it's pretty much a lightweight, a middleweight, a light heavyweight, a heavyweight, and a super heavyweight. There's usually about 5 to 6 classes.
And you compete in which one?
Probably the middleweight, 176.
Now, it sounds like there's a decent gap in between those weights.
Yeah, there is.
When you're competing against, you had mentioned open. Was it open you said? Where anyone versus anyone?
The overalls would just be
overall,
like whoever won first in every class, if they have an overall prize or an overall winning, or if they just want to have an overall. Everybody who won first in your right-handed class will go against each other, and I would say it's usually it starts super heavyweight and it just goes down. So it's like super heavyweight versus the heavyweight, Then whoever wins that stays on the table. So it's kind of king of the table. If you win, you stay on the table.
Now, have you ever had to arm wrestle against, someone who's a lot bigger than you?
Yeah. Yeah, Stephen Green. Yeah, Stephen
He
Green was
remembers his name and everything.
named Stephen Green. I went up against him at Missouri State in 2014, and because I got first in the novice right-handed class, and he went through everybody, and I was the last one up there, and his fingers have biceps, so good, good. And then actually one of my best tournaments was Daytona Biker Bash 2015. I went second place left and right-handed 165 class. I went second to a 17-year veteran in both arms. So I ended up we both did real well that day, and it was a triple elimination, so we had lots of more matches. And I ended up beating the veteran, actually left-handed one time, but then he blew through me all the other times, and that was left-handed, yeah. But I was in the overalls both times because they put first and second place in the overalls, and I went against Stump Burton. Stump's about 5'9" and weighs 220. He can make 220 class, but I mean he's short and stocky. I'll tell you what, if he got into bench press competitions, he'd be real good. He's made for that bench and squat and pressing. But I grabbed onto his meat hook hand, and I just was laughing. I was in the overalls because they let me be, but he beat everybody. He won $250 left and right-handed. So he won $500 that day, and I'm pretty sure he won his left and right class that day, 220. So I think he went home with 2 medals and $500. So, but I've been in the overalls a few times.
Now, what kind of difference is it going up against someone bigger than you? Like, obviously they have a natural strength advantage, but I mean, have you beat people a lot bigger than you? And,
yeah,
mostly just form, technique.
I've beat people bigger than me. I admit they were probably either less experienced or they were close enough to my weight where it didn't totally make a difference. But it's kind of like fighting, MMA, boxing. You just can't put a 155er against a 205er a lot of times. Now that's when you know you're good. If you're like a middleweight or even a light heavyweight, a 205 like John Brzenk, and he could jump up to the super heavyweight class. He used to compete 198 class, 220, and 242 plus, and he would go home with first place both arms. And he would blow through everybody, and he probably wouldn't even lose that day. And if he lost one match, he knew how to beat that guy later. So he may be on the B side losing, and he beat that guy twice later. It's just how it was. But it's like fighting. It's like boxing, MMA, wrestling, even. I mean, you could be a wrestler, 165 pounds, and you could be just as strong in the gym as the guy who's in the 185 class. But it's just that whole. There's just a size difference, but size doesn't always make a difference. But when they know how to arm wrestle, it does make a difference a lot of the time. It's hard to bump up a class. A lot of people can do it, but there's twice as many people who can't.
Yeah, I guess that's why they say. I mean, you're right. That's why they call it a size advantage. It's just a natural advantage, basically. You brought up winning cash. I didn't even think about that. You guys actually compete for money usually at these things, right?
Yeah, pro class. If you're pro class, a lot of times that's what they'll offer is a money itself.
Okay.
I've not won anything. It's too special. Actually, I did win $100 at Paducah, Kentucky in 2013. But this competition, they offered the novice class, the amateur class's money if you won first, and I ended up going first left-handed, so I won $100, I believe. Yeah, I won $100 and then I think a $50 gift card from the motorcycle Harley Davidson shop we were at, arm wrestling. But yeah, today, and I don't know who's watching this, and this is just my opinion, but today it's big on the money, and that's too much on people's minds, in my eyes. It's fine. I mean, the guys that are winning the money are the best in the world, especially in WAL, World Arm Wrestling League. They just had the World Championships. If you won your class, you went home with a 20-pound welded up hammer, Thor hammer, and you went home $20,000 richer. So if
20,000?
if you can go to enough of these competitions that offer that kind of, not even that close to money, you go to one, you get 5,000. But if you can win that 20,000 both arms, by the way, I have a Princess Cup.
I was just gonna say something about that, dude.
Thanks, Cameron. I have a Princess Cup, which if you saw my girlfriend's daughter's quads, you'd be frightened. She's 6 years old and squats like an Olympic lifter.
I'm like, here's
Anyway.
Brett, mad-ass arm wrestler, pulls semis, and he's about to drink out of a Princess Cup.
Don't feel bad. I have that same cup.
But I mean, hey, you know what? My goal probably is one day to go to WAL and win $20,000. Heck yeah, let's do it. I'll go over. I'd love to go overseas and win, a big competition with a big trophy and money, and that's what's awesome. But I think just in today's world with how we all think, money is just too much on our minds. Like, I mean, flying to places and hotel rooms and entry fees and all that, I mean, it adds up, but it's kind of like, if this is what you love, then, that's what you spend your money on. And I mean, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say it's dumb to win that kind of money, but I think it's on too many people's minds. I think people, I just don't want to see somebody say, you know what, I'm going to quit my job because I feel like some people will think that way. I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to win competitions. And one guy does it, Travis Bagent, and he can. Look up Travis Bagent and you'll understand why he can do what he's doing. And that's how he makes his money to support his family. But when one person can do that, there's 5,000 others that, I'm sorry, won't be able to do that. I've always liked also arm wrestling itself because we come from all sorts of
Backgrounds
when it comes from blue collar to white collar, I guess you could say, from police officers and firefighters to machine operators, construction workers, to postmen, to owning our own businesses, farming, welders, computer people, computer engineers, working at scale clerk. My girlfriend's a scale clerk at a metal scrap place, to anything, teachers, everything. So I've always thought that was cool because while they go to their 8-hour, 10-hour day jobs, they still go home and then they train for the hour, 2 hours. They go to the competitions, they go to the practices, and military, they're doing their stuff and trying to get in the training they can, and that's what I've always liked. I guess I always think too far, and I don't want anyone to get themselves in a bind because it's easy enough to do that now in a natural world. So, but I feel like it's too much of a pull. I feel like the money is awesome, but it is too much of a pull, and I think it gives some people a I can't think of the word now, but it gives some people a false hope, I think, sometimes. I really do, because it just does. I just would, like I said, I would hate for someone to think that, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want anyone to get mad at me. I really don't. I don't want to say it wrong. I just don't want someone to get a false hope to the point where they quit something that they love, that they're doing, that is supporting them very well, just to do this. It'd be great to have those kind of sponsors. Some people do have sponsors, but
yeah, I think I get what you're saying. Basically, you can make a living off of arm wrestling, and you can make good money, but it's not everyone can do it, and it's only the elite in arm wrestling can actually make a living off of it. So you have to be best of the best in order to reach that level to where that is your job. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know, people did that strictly for a job. You must be a badass if that's what you're doing. But I know what you're saying about, doing it for the passion and the love.
I would prefer it be that. I just feel like, I think we both can agree. Some people I mean, to have that passion, I think sometimes, I think the second, if you don't have the passion and the drive to do it, then you, in the end, it won't be what you want it to be. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I totally get where you're coming from. Like, I'm a software engineer, and I'm passionate about doing software. And as you know, a lot of people, would say, hey, go, get into computers. You're going to make a lot of money being into computers. And yes, you can make a lot of money being in computers, but, it's one of those things. If you're not good, you're just not, if you don't have the passion, you're not going to ever go above and beyond to be good. And there's a lot of people that you end up meeting in the industry where the only reason they got into it is because it was a paycheck. People told them it was a good career field, but they're not passionate about it at the end of the day. So it just becomes a 9 to 5 where they're just not doing their passion. And I think to really sum up what you're saying is, do your passion. Don't follow just the money in it, but do it because you're passionate about it, and the money will follow.
exactly. Yeah. Like I said, I always talk too much, but the money is the scary part of it. I guess that's just the last thing on my mind. And I mean, is getting that money, probably because I'm not that good. But it's the last thing on my mind, and I know in today's world, sometimes that's the first thing on people's mind. I'd prefer they be there for the experience and the horrible tendon pain first, because it's a fun time.
In any sport, professionally, money changes everything.
Yeah,
And,
sometimes.
perfect example is boxing. You
Yeah,
have guys, these young up and comers that are just hungry. They just want to be on the big stage. They want to compete for the title. They want the big paycheck. They want to make it big and make money. And so they're hungry. And these guys are just blasting through competition. And they're training hard, and they're up at the crack of dawn, and putting in 12-hour days in the gym, and to get to that level. And then you see a lot of these guys, once they hit the top and they actually get that first big paycheck, or a couple big paychecks under their belt, then they lose the passion.
yeah.
They've already achieved what they wanted, and it's all about money after that. And you see them usually they go downhill because they lose that hunger, they lose that fire inside. And yeah, I'm starting to hear that. Anyways, I know you got to run, man. So we'll go ahead and wrap up. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, Brett. It's really cool to talk to someone who's in a different realm of the barbell life than your typical powerlifter, bodybuilder, things like that. But yeah, it's really neat. You actually got me curious, like, I kind of want to, try this out, but we'll see. Do you want to give any shout outs or, show any love to anybody out there before we wrap up?
Everyone. No one specific, I guess. Just hope everyone liked it. Hope everyone understood, especially the last bit, because it's a scary little situation. It's a risque kind of conversation about money and stuff. I mean, if it's what you want to do, it's what you want to do, But I just hope that people, as they get into it, then they find that passion, and that the money itself is the last thing, on their minds, at least for a while, But honestly, I will give it this though. I want to say this. I haven't. Almost everyone that I've met has. It's different. It's an entire family, because you can get beat by one guy, and you can go up to him and say, "How'd you beat me?" And they will sit there and tell you how to beat them. You may not be able to do it because you don't have the tendon strength yet or the complete technique, but they'll tell you. So that's what's really cool. So I've never really met anybody in the sport that I've ever been like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have met you, because they're always wanting to talk to you. They're like, gotta come down again. I'm like, I live 1,500 miles away. They're like, well, still come down and train with us. They want you to train. They want you to get better. That's what's really cool. And that's honestly what keeps me in it too, is you know, it's really cool like that. So shout out to all the arm wrestlers if they're watching, and shout out to everybody else is watching that I've posted about, and hopefully didn't mind me stuttering.
Oh, you're good, man. Sounds like an awesome community.
Yeah.
Let's give a shout out to that new tattoo real quick. Let's check it out.
That's a lot of
Some
says
love.
how do we inspire ourselves to greatness when nothing less will do? That's on the forearm. So that's pretty much really cool part. And then I've got Psalms 144:1 and Matthew 28:4, 2 through 4, and Daniel 10:8 through 12. And then it's got a lot of shading. The spider web came out much cooler than I could have ever expected. So
Nice.
I like it. It's not even done yet, but
I'm digging it too. All right, man. Well, appreciate you coming on the show. Definitely get some pictures submitted for the calendar. Definitely want to get you back on this upcoming year's calendar. And yeah, man, if you ever need anything, or maybe down the road, Barbell Nutrition can sponsor your stuff. So on that note, Larry, take it away.
All right, you guys have been hearing about it, so here's the hype. Noctogen, our newest supplement that we're adding to the line. Noctogen will be your nighttime formula. Get those gains in at night. And we have, of course, plutonium, chain reaction, and thermite. So, you know, we had some issue where with the labels, and we have that just about resolved here. So we're looking to be taking pre-orders probably in the next week or two, and then shipping after that. So you guys definitely stay tuned, and thank you guys for following us on this. And if anything, we want to give a shout out to our label guy because he has created some awesome labels. Our other partner, Ross, for
label guy
formulating it. So definitely, we have everything just about ready. So we're excited.
Yeah, definitely. Also, for our email subscribers, we got a big email coming out, hopefully today, if not tomorrow. So check your inboxes for that. And on that note, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks again, Brett.
Bye.